What if I go stronger? What if I get higher? What if I start doing things I know I will regret? I will make my own way, I will not surrender. I will do my best until I get put under. What if I go stronger? 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 What if I go stronger?
Roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah. Lions has gone and come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a whirl. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a whirl. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah.
Good morning, grasshoppers. It is another day of diligent daily training. I have been doing this for quite some time. Let's see here. Slowly getting my act in gear. We are going to be looking at Nepomniachtchi. We are going to be looking at Ting. And we are going to be finishing up Ivanchuk, and we're going to be moving on to 4 books of Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer Explained, Bobby Fischer 10 Years in Cuba, Bobby Fischer The Unstoppable American, and Bobby Fischer in His World, as contributed to the dojo via the Amazon wishlist by Ron Hay and MD Night Zero. Now, they are not here at the moment, but their mere presence is kept in mind based on the fact that they are always contributing. While we wait for the arena to start, we might just do a little bit of Puzzle Streak. Let's see how far we can get. Demonstrating our recapture here. Attackers and defenders. In between move, counterattacking and discovery. Basically discovering on the bishop on c5. Our queen would normally be taken if we weren't attacking the king. Pawn promotion. Or removing the defender, one or the other. And of course we'll lock down on the pawn on c2 and make sure that that doesn't get taken. Here's removing the defender. We can give up our rook because we're obtaining an extra queen. So we're giving up 5 for 9. This is a chess.com back rank mate. Usually when I do the puzzles on cheese.com, I am faced with a gazillion back rank mates. The first 20, I think, are all back rank mates. Here we just have to choose the right piece to go for the mate in 2 on g7. finally, a slightly difficult one. It looks as though we're going to win the pawn race. There is no breakthrough on the other side of the board. And by queening first, we will stop this pawn from queening. Probably easiest by playing our queen to f8 and then bring our king across. This looks like a back rank mate. Or is it just winning material? And we are threatening mate. We seem to have f3 protected. So in the next move on that last puzzle, bishop to h6 was going to be mate, or queen takes f8 was going to be mate. Here we have a mate in 2 with the help of the rook on the open file. Just going to stop at h7 rather than going to h8. Should be a natural thing to do. This king is not in the square of the pawn once the pawn moves forward. So it's a pawn race. And when we get to the 8th rank, we're going to be checking on h8 and skewering the queen. And we'll be winning the queen on g1 in that last exercise. If anything, a skewer, and then removing a defender. The king will have to move away because the bishop can't take. Most of these moves are forcing moves. This way we protect the knight. And then we skewer through to the queen. Here we're going to remove the defender of the queening square. And we're going to win the race by queening with check if he hadn't moved his king. And we would stop the pawn from queening. Here we could win a pawn, or we could drive the king in front of the pawn. And this is a skewer through to the rook, or a mate in 1 if the queen blocks. Or it's not mate in 1, if the queen blocks, we'll play queen h3, winning the queen with the rook on g8. Note that if the queen had come here, it would have been pinned to the king, and we would have played queen h3 check, king f3, and rook takes queen. But instead, double skewers, we're going to pick up the rook on in the corner as well. Here we have a nice reverse skewer. I do want to save that one, so I'm bringing it up in another window. Here we have removing the defender by the laws of attraction. We're going to get the king to move to the h-file so that our queen can go to the h-file and then arrive on h2. Good morning, Palange and SLK. Good morning. How are you doing? Great to see you, sir. How are you, Stefan? I hope all is well. This is white to move, and it looks like a pawn breakthrough. And we might have to stop this pawn from queening, so we have to be very mindful of being able to play bishop to b3. It almost appears like we could play bishop to b3 first. then life gets a little complicated, perhaps. Not really, but interestingly enough, I think bishop to b3 is almost as good. And the king is outside the square of the pawn, and the knight cannot return to stop it. Here we set up a fork by drawing the king onto the square c8, or f1 in this case. And with the extra knight, we'll assist our pawn in promoting. We've done 20. Let's return to the dojo. Not Master Chess, but the Master Chess Dojo Rapid and Classical on the weekends. 2 minutes away, 8 players to get a good start. We need at least 16 or 20 to make sure that we can complete all 9 rounds with legal pairings. We only have 2 minutes, so it looks like I'm not going to have time to go get coffee. Steve, how are you, sir? Just organizing my chat boxes. Ah! I'm gonna raise it up on the other screen. That's good. Now we're in business. Many tricks to the trade. Oops. Can't move it over. Steve Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Check him out. Does an earnest job. We're all putting our heart and soul into this because we love it, not because we're getting paid. Tima, good morning. We're going to go with the professional player's repertoire. Let's start attacking the d4 pawn because it's hanging. Now we're shifting into a Ragozin a little bit. Because our opponent's pawn is not, I'm sorry, because our opponent's bishop is on d2, now we're going to hopefully take advantage of the fact that his king is in the center. We got our pieces developed first. This is not a real pin. We're merely threatening the d4 pawn. Takes, 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 Sonora. I want to keep my knight. I want to keep my bishop anyway. Yeah, I made a little bit of a blunder. Our opponent now has the opportunity to put a knight on e5. Hopefully we can extract ourselves from this mess. Now, instead of being defensive, white had a very good shot at playing bishop to g5, pinning my knight and removing the defender of the d5 pawn. That was going to cause me some predicaments since I'm no longer getting the piece back by playing bishop h2 check. So we'll secure our knight against any funny business toward d5. So how are we going to achieve anything here? First thought, knight e7, knight f5. Put a rook on c8 though first. But that way we can bring our bishop back, potentially threaten mate, removing the defender. He could do us a favor by putting his bishop on b5, and that way a knight can't go there to bother our queen. We seem to have everything under control. Aiming at the h2 square and the weakened dark squares on the king side. Rook takes e3 is a possibility. Unfortunately, we don't really have enough to attack on the king side, but we're just prodding and probing for weaknesses to be able to attack later. For example, knight to c4 is an option. Bishop to let's just keep his queen out of b5, which looks pestering. We're just going to be extremely patient. We always have the possibility of bishop to g6, securing the e4 square. Now he is going for the dark squares on the queen side. And now we are going to try to remove the defender of the g3 square. Now we have possibilities of picking up 3 pawns for our piece, and the e3 bishop will be hanging. Don't want to give him time to play bishop to f4. Should he try for the in-between move, cutting off our queen, we always have knight takes e2 check, and then we can start picking up material on this square. And also try to secure the g3 square by playing rook takes e3. Coffee is always good. It is a free pawn after all, since we're removing the defender of the bishop. We do have some problems. Just some problems. Should he try to go after our b7 pawn? A little bit of a bother. Let's shift across. Well, we get to secure the c5 square this way. Should we remove the defender of the c5 square first? Moment of truth. We will be removing the defender of this square if he captures with the bishop, because we can capture back with the pawn, and then the defender of the king side. So now we're headed in. Got this check, that removing of the defender.
Nation owes you a huge debt.
Is it worth it? Thank you for following, El Nicolaso. I am FIDE trainer and National Master John MacArthur. One of the things that we really have to do as chess players is evaluate and try to determine what the best possible outcome is. Do I really want to take the knight and dive in on that square? Or do we wish to just move across? Let's just move across. We still have plenty of attackers and plenty of defenders. On the f3 square, the queen cannot take on d5 because the knight on f3 needs to be guarded. Knight to b6. Not at all what I was expecting. Fair enough. Not sure that knight has a future. We've got discoveries. We've got doubling rooks as well, but first let's take care of our d5 pawn. After all, it is a fork. And now we are going to simply... Should we bother the queen? Or should we simplify? Bishop takes, knight takes. And what can I do with my bishop that is useful? Just he's just planning on taking my bishop. So this is somewhat forced. And because we want to simplify, it might just be best to take this knight. But he loses time with his knight. I have very limited time, so I have to choose what I'm going to do. I don't really think that our extra pawn is worthwhile. So bishop takes, knight takes. His rook does reach the 7th rank, but we have a few more checks. that may or may not win material. He's insisting on trading some more. We're less than a minute now. We have to start moving rather briskly. So are we up 2 pawns now? He's capturing. And we can force some simplification by cutting off the knight's protection. He also had another move. Just making sure that he recaptures. Remember, we're gaining time. And now we have a pawn majority on this side of the board, which we're going to use to our best advantage. Maybe we're not going to win this endgame. It is rather unfortunate that we're not going to win this endgame. We'll hold out as long as we can. What did we do wrong? Yeah. It's true. What did we do wrong to not win that endgame? First things first, we went into a rook endgame. Bishop to f3 was way too cute. Our pieces were better than his pieces for that moment in time. So if I had to choose a better move, this would be the move that I would correct. Probably the immediate knight f3 check was better. Although it liked the possibility of getting my pawn off the 7th rank. It's hard to say if that was absolutely the best move. Let's just see for a moment what the knight f3 situation is. Knight e6 was also a move I considered. Rerouting, going after all the weaknesses on this side of the board. That knight is a problem. As it turns out. So in this particular position back here, let's just see what I flubbed in this attack, because it felt like we were doing really, really well here. Bishop takes f4, knight takes d4, bishop c7. Knight to D. Knight to D2, knight to G5. Or knight to D2. That was the move I was going to say the first time. Knight to D2. Bishop takes. Let's just assume that he takes on this square. And then we merely pick up everything that he owns. On this square. Rook takes e1, rook takes d8, and we have a passed pawn with the help of the bishop. Bishop is the more valuable piece. And on bishop, it's amazing they're actually showing bishop e7 as a candidate move. Try to get my rook to a square that it cannot get behind the passed pawn. All right. Deviatati. Deviati. Good luck, sir. We're going to stay with e4. We're about to be looking at the games of William Lombardy, who went 11-0 in the World Junior Championship in the 1950s. 11-0. No one had ever accomplished such a score before, and Bobby Fischer managed to achieve it in the U.S. Championship against, in theory, better players. We are following a law. We're going to go with the queen takes d4 option. White is slightly better after queen a5 check. Knight c3, queen takes b5. Well, isn't that fascinating? This causes me to reroute just a little bit, as we're going to have to control the d5 square a little bit more. Perhaps we'll put our bishop on b2 as well. Insisting upon the coverage of the I might want to use my f4 pawn, my f pawn, to open up the f file. Bishop g5 was more to the point. The e5 pawn is hanging. If he considers pushing d5. In general, good players never check out of a position. They're always... Now the e5 pawn is protected, but the bishop on g5 is no longer doubly attacked. And this, my friends, is where we decide on how we're going to use our f pawn to break through. Knight e1, c2. Knight e1, c2, e3. No pinning possibilities, unfortunately. He might want to give up his dark squared bishop. And now, is he really threatening to play d5? Knight f5 would remove one of our e players. So let's just play for the dark squared bishop. This is one of those moments when I wish that I had a rook on c1 rather than on d1. You can tell that I've actually misplaced my rook. No problems, T. Alright, so now that the e5 square isn't covered, and we have a choice of which bishop to capture, let's just trust in the ability of our pawns to withhold or withstand the d5 pawn break. All right, and now e takes, c takes. Knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes. Our knight is a little offsides on that square. We're going to have 2-1 on the outside. Queen to g3, bishop f4, mildly embarrassing. Or is it? It's unfortunate that we're losing our ability to control this file. It's going to be a queen and knight versus queen and bishop endgame. Two rooks for the queen. So knight f5 was a better move way back when. Knight to b5. Knight to e4 loses a piece. The opponent's playing well. The logical move is to go for the 2 rooks, but are we going to be able to win that? Are we going to be able to win it? That is the question. Well, that's interesting. Had not considered the possibility of moving the pawn. So now our knight is relatively unassailable. Relatively. Our king is not as safe as he once was. Fair enough. Is this a relative fork or an absolute fork? Can I? I cannot. He's stopping me from playing my knight to the right square. So the back rank is weak. Well, he's offering us a chance to play rook takes e4, f5, rook takes e4, h takes g4, and it ruins our pawn structure, so I'm not going to do that. What's the worst that could happen? A draw might be the optimal result. Just trying to get our pieces to better squares. with both rooks anchored. We're feeling a little bit better. Now we just need to remove the defender of the e4 pawn. And now we're going after the weakened king. Should we go after the weakened king? Check, check. Can we escape the checks? No, eh? I cannot escape the checks. It appears that I cannot escape the checks. Whoops. Yeah, it's my fault. Nice work, sir. We will look into this. I made a mistake here. I should have played the immediate bishop to g5 to threaten bishop takes f6 check since the pawn was hanging. Made a natural move instead. Never really. And rook on f to d1 was a mistake. Rook to e5. Ah. Yes, of course. All right. Moment of truth. He's coordination. DG Road. Back-to-back big champions. That's right. It is Magnus League Day. Good morning, DG Road. Only 11 minutes late as I was involved in trying to win that game. You gads, folks. We will be shifting gears towards Sicilians in a moment. Nah. With the Caro-Kann, we're going all the way. To the point where no one will want to play e4 against me anymore. my favorite move, and I'll play as Danya does. Learned a few tricks from him. I was watching AK and Nemsko's game against Danya. He had no problems equalizing after this move. C3 is the standard move in order to keep black from having two center pawns. This is the advantage of the Sicilian defense, by the way. And maybe, just maybe, I'll have a chance to demonstrate queen a5 check, queen takes b5 check, and knight takes d4. Have fun at Magnus League. Magnus League, by the way, is named after Magnus, obviously, but it's a high school tournament of champions. And in light of the recent allegations of cheating and impropriety by Magnus in a very unsportsmanlike fashion, we're going to rename the Magnus League to one of our own grandmasters. Not necessarily the Hans Niemann League, because he also attended our school and played in the Magnus League. I find it very ironic that Hans Niemann played in the Magnus League. In order to become a very strong player, he represented our school. Most of what Hans Niemann experienced as a youth, age 16 and under, with chess.com, occurred before he attended Columbia Grammar. Well, isn't that interesting? Well, we're just going to continue. Mainly because it is the thing to do. We're analyzing everything with chess-base 17, by the way. Chess-base 17 is probably the most powerful preparation tool I have seen. It's amazing. I was analyzing some games yesterday, and I found my way through the black side of the two knights defense. Interestingly enough, I should have returned to that. So I have a few novelties in that line to uncork. I don't know that these moves haven't been played before. Yeah, the Mark Arnold League, given that Mark's mother, Renee, has provided so much support to the team over the years, I believe that the Mark Arnold League might be appropriate. Not entirely sure about... Wow, he gave away his knight in the center. And now for something completely different. Let's get rid of the white squared bishop while we're at it. Standard operating procedure. F6 is crying out to me. Yeah, F6 is crying out to me since the queen is no longer on the white squares. We're going to get a lead in development this way. And we're going to limit our opponent's options on the King's safety is relative, everyone. Now, is the dark squared bishop really that much of a threat? Knight to e4. Let's give him a look up. Removing the defender. Just another standard tactic. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bother. But in for a penny, in for a pound. In for a penny, in for a pound. Mm-hmm. And now for something completely different. Yeah, that's a bummer. It's unfortunate. We better make sure that his queen cannot come back to bother us. Well, that was fascinating. Check. All right, well, we don't have a choice in the matter, since we have to extract our king just so. Not a double attack? This move wasn't available to us before. There's a small threat here. Just a small threat. I was expecting bishop to d4, bishop to h4. Both of which I probably would have played knight f2 check on. Knight f2, queen h1, knight d1, and then extracting myself again. So bishop to c5 was probably the move. Did not expect to win that one. We started the day at 21-28. Our first round opponent drew us for a loss of 2. So we lost 2 rating points on each of the draws. Not that rating points count. 5 rating points. I know, I actually wheeled in Bill Lombardy when Bill Lombardy said that he would never ever work with kids. And I think Joel Benjamin said the same thing. Grandmaster Joel Benjamin said he didn't know how I did it. You know, he had not that much patience. He didn't say he would never work with kids, Joel, that is. But Bill Lombardy specifically said that he'd never work with kids. And I brought Mark to his attention while he was playing, and we analyzed afterwards at the Marshall. And he said he would make an exception for Mark because Mark was a very mature player for his age. And it was an important, legendary experience for him. Renee had to take Mark to Stuyvesant Town, or Peter Cooper Town. I'm not sure whether it was Stuyvesant Town or Peter Cooper Town, or whatever it's called. And he lived not far from Judy Shipman. Who was my first romantic interest in New York City. Did not work out well, though, because Walter Shipman, Judy's daughter, had mistaken me for another friend of mine. Well, actually, Judy and had mistaken me for, in her recounting of our encounters, for my friend Kevin, who was extremely intense and military. So I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to date that particular Kevin either. So as a result, I got the father talk, which I might have to give to one of my daughter's boyfriends someday. Let's hope that day never comes. All right, enjoy the Magnus League, sir. It will be able to be watched live, I believe, on the DGT boards. You don't happen to have the link, do you? I have a lesson immediately after this at 10 a.m. We're going to stay with E4. Yeah, no, I have a lesson at 10, so whether or not I am able to make it or not does depend on circumstances, obviously. So knight to D7. We're going to keep the pawn center. We're going to follow in William Steinitz's recipe here. I don't necessarily want to commit my queen just yet. Maybe bishop c4 was in order. Maybe bishop c4 was in order. Can we go for the weakened square? F5? Doesn't appear so. Does not appear so. So the F7 square is proving to be mighty tender here. Does that knight have a future? Wow. I believe that we are threatening something. And now we get to take a free pawn. Mm-hmm. Well, bishop to d6 would have avoided the loss of a pawn. But now there are weak squares everywhere. Let's just make sure that he's not interested in castling at all. I'm not sure that that helps. Not entirely positive that that helps, but let's just keep up the pressure. Keeping up the pressure. Thanks, Danny. Well, that's interesting. Well, that's even more interesting. Is he planning on some simplification? He does have bishop check and queen f5 check. That's kind of a bummer. Are we down in material? Not really. Fine. We have more attackers where that came from. I'm not a big fan of the Black Lion. That is what that opening was. Let's see what happened in that game. Was black ever in it, or was bishop to c4 really the wrong move? I mean, the right move. So this basic setup against the modern or the black lion, perfectly acceptable. I'm a little worried about knight to g4. Should have considered h3 here. And as it turns out, he misses his chance at knight to g4, which is absolutely key to removing the glue, as Grandmaster Joel Benjamin called the dark square bishop. It may not look like it, but the glue of white's center and many of white's themes in many games is the dark squared bishop. So knight e1 stops knight to g4, thankfully, because of this poorly placed knight. f4 continues. f5, not the best, huh? h3. g4, probably. f4, then h5, then f5. And I do everything with gain of tempo. Yeah, it's true. f5 tipped my hand a little much. And then my opponent lost immediately. Couldn't capture the pawn on e5 because of the queen trap, which he was able to see. Bishop takes e4 first, and then knight takes e4. This is way too complex, but certainly it's a very good position. Note that we're not defending this pawn on b2. Yeah, black has to be completely toasted here. Queen h5 check is already tempting. The only problem with queen h5 is that they have g6, and my pawn is pinned to my queen. So therefore, wow, they really consider this the best move. Just giving away a piece. Knight to d7 seems like a human move to find, but then queen h5 check. Knight h7, queen h5 check as well. The other rook is coming in. Looks pretty bad. He has no moves. Let's get back to the tournament, because I think you'd think that we're going to be playing soon. Let's reload. The only winning move is to resign. You know it's bad when your best move is to trade queens and give up a piece. '16 in Grandmaster William Lombardy's birthday Swiss. Grandmaster William Lombardy was a good friend. In the later years, I would find him at Steinway Billiards. I think it was the first place I saw him. And I also saw him at billiards halls around the city. He and Renato Naranjo, another older retired gentleman, became friends. Renato Naranjo was about the same age, maybe a little older, and was probably most famous for playing Bobby Fischer, an international master from the Philippines. In fact, he was one of two international masters that one of my students, Lilia Petit, defeated in the same night, mind you, in the same night. She had the scholastic schedule in those days where you could play 2 rounds, take a half-point bye, and being just under the rating of 2,000, I believe on more than one occasion she scored the under 2,000 prize for the Thursday night 4-rated games at the Marshall Chess Club. She beat international master at the time, Justin Sarkar. I'm going to look up Justin Sarkar. to see if he's become a GM. Explore further. It even gives his address. Jackson Heights, New York. If you look up Justin Sarkar. Explore further. Renato Naranja was a very kind and nice gentleman. He's only an international master still. I feel for Justin Sarkar. All right, we're going to take a brief intermission. As I beat the player rated next to me to keep first place. Maybe we'll take the intermission after this. Staying with the Caro-Kann for the moment. Just because nobody seems to know how to play against this particular opening. Maybe some days people will actually figure out how to play against the Caro-Kann. Oh, my opponent may know how to play against the Caro-Kann. Oh, he faltered. Scared me there for a moment. The Caro-Kann is certainly an opening that mainly pretends. All right, I'm going to be materialistic and go for it. Mainly because the queen is on f3. And just maybe we'll win a pawn. He's not out of the woods yet. He's not out of the woods yet. He's not out of the woods yet. Quite fascinating how White can get into trouble like this. Yeah, I made a mistake. I did. I did make a mistake. Pick up, stand up. Stand up, right down. My knight is so strong. And is he threatening to trap my queen? Possibly. He was threatening to trap my queen. Looks like we might have won a pawn. Whether we knew it or not, we won a pawn. Is my rook in trouble? So we did win a pawn after all of that. Can you imagine? That small prediction that I made. Can I allow my knight? Can I allow my rook? No, we're just going to keep him under wraps. To the best of our ability, we're going to keep him under wraps. Anchor.
I've been thinking, lately it's just me against the world. Round and round I'm caught up in this swirl, trying to dig and trying to burrow. Pressure turned this stone into a pearl. Lessons that I learned weren't always thorough, sugar-coated like a churl. Now I'm really out here on my own. Now my homies acting like
Things have gotten very complicated. Why did I move my knight off of that lovely square instead of just supporting my e5 pawn?
finally say I'm up now, 20,000 on a bus down, I'm on my way up, going up now, and I ain't never gonna touch down.
Just trying to improve my rook.
mind's on, I can't turn it off. Late nights and I'm turning up. Hate life, then I learn to love. Down and out, now I'm way above. I always knew I had it, now I'm living out my dreams. Treat that money like an addict, it's a habit, I'm a fiend. Feeling that rush, rocket ready to launch. Hands up, ready and gone, been waiting too long. Trust on plenty, that's wrong. Old me's dead and that's gone, thank God I'm headstrong. I don't wanna wake up in a doubt that I show 'em everything I'm about. I ain't never going out, I ain't never getting for no clout. Now I'm sitting pretty on the cloud, I'm up now, I'm
Up now. Bust down. Up, down. Touchdown. 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 Three to one with pawns on both sides of the board should be okay. Should be. But how to get there from here? Unfortunately, this end game can I check him toward it? I don't know. Yes, yes. All of our pieces are on optimal positions. Three deep. Good morning, Sensei. Resistor, Resistor. No, you can't drop out of the tournament, Resistor. Let's get boogieing. I need to anchor my night, don't I?
Inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
This is a small threat. I'm not sure how he can stop this threat. Gonna have to give up his pawn. Check, check.
Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live
And how fast do we do it here?
make believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. I wanna taste your content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption, breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the wick burns out.
Keys coordination.
Just wanna be carefree lately, yeah. Just picking up daisies. Got one too many quarters in my pockets. Count 'em like the four-leaf clover.
Am I not able to win this game?
Untied laces, yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got
Am I not able to win this game?
pain on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
All right, moment of truth now. This was the plan. It's possible that I can't win this game. I was too casual about this. I was way too casual about this. Way too casual about this. Oh well, you win some, you draw some. What? Whoa. That's rude. Hmm. It was a brilliant idea on his part to try to draw it that way, but he just didn't see one half move further. I was very lucky. I'm so sorry. Namaste to my opponent, Titan Gladiator. You played so well in that game. The mating nets did prevail. Yeah, the USA lost really badly to the Netherlands, but I had almost written them off beforehand. All right, Jude Kassan, aka Jude NYC. Yeah, India didn't make the World Cup this time around, but I'm sure they will next time. Many teams are very young and need a little bit more experience. The U.S. team is extremely young. By the next World Cup, it will be something. We will be contenders. I don't know if we'll be quite good enough, but we will be contenders. Let's see when Jude NYC was last playing chess. Friday, December 9th is his next stream. So he streams on Friday nights. Very nicely done. Yep, Jude NYC. I wasn't entirely sure about the England matchup. Wow, with a half an hour to go. It's quite crazy. I almost would dare to send everyone over to the loveliest of chess streamers, which I think I will do, and that way I may be able to get in a 20-minute instructional, if I can get the stream up and running in 5 minutes. I may come back with an instructional Ivanchuk Shirov's first encounter. Please enjoy the lovely and earnest improvement streams of Christina in Riverside, California, as she is. Dark Blade, namaste. Thank you for being here. Sri Deep. Cheers, everyone, and ciao. Thank you very much. Ardos 234 Mako. I'm sorry that I did not get your follow. El Nicolas 6969. Good luck in whatever events you choose to do. Cheers and ciao, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day.